1. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. Tis I, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. And joining us from beyond the grave, but where it's always light outside, it's the Day Ghost.
I'm just glad DJ's here so I don't look like a fool while I'm moderating.
Were you worried about it all day long? You're like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to read all the comments. I have to read the comments out loud.
There's so many comments, I don't know where to start.
That's just too many monkeys. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us on another special late edition of the Captain Logan Show. My wife has been out of town all week, and so I was taking care of the kids early in the evenings and not able to do live shows. So really cool of DJ to do the show with me both days, a couple hours late, and for Austin to come in initially in a fill-in capacity, but of course we weren't going to tell him to go home when DJ was able to make it. So we've got them both. Austin was planning on filling in all week, and super cool of him to hang out with us even though DJ was able to make it. So once again, special guest Austin, the Day Ghost, and he was a very special guest last time because we spent a lot of that show talking about kicking him out, but clearly that didn't happen. So we retained the Austin for this late night edition again. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah, well, I just realized I'm continuing my track of unprofessionalism when
You
I
got
just
some
realized
mood lighting, yeah. You got like good silhouette.
turn on my main light.
That's all right. You know, I should have said something, and honestly, I didn't even notice until you just pointed it out. So
Yeah, I didn't think of it until I just looked at myself and I was like, wow, I'm dark.
it's okay. It just occurred to me.
It's like that Terminator lighting. You got like half your face lit.
Yeah, the rest is a skull.
Yeah, it kind of works because of that. I think that's maybe why I didn't notice it. It's like the lighting just goes with that really crappy background that you
Yeah, you blend
from
blend it
last
into your
time.
background.
Happy all around.
Speaking of that, I want to take this opportunity to go ahead and announce what Austin and I are doing Sunday, because we haven't posted about that yet. We are finally doing, for the 6 people that will care, the Terminator 3 commentary. Nobody's favorite Terminator movie, but we are doing that commentary because we're going through the series. Much to my chagrin, with some of the others, I'm kind of looking forward to Genesis just because I think it'll be kind of funny to watch that. And I'm also interested in seeing Salvation again because I haven't seen that since it was out, really. So going back and reappraising that will be interesting. But we're going to reappraise Terminator 3 on Sunday, and spoiler alert, it's going to be probably a lot of us groping around trying to think of things to say until the last 20 minutes when it almost gets interesting. So look forward to that if you're so inclined. We're going to do that probably around this time as well. That will probably be a later commentary, but watch your social media because that's tentative. It might be earlier in the... I'm not sure yet because we haven't talked about a specific time, and I don't know what's going on that day in my personal life. So Austin, at the moment I'm thinking later, but it could be earlier if you're around for earlier, so we'll talk about it anyway.
Yeah, I'm good for whatever.
Okay, cool. So anyway, we'll talk about that. Thanks for joining us live if you're doing that. Thanks for watching after the fact. If you weren't able to make it for this later time, we are, as always, going to answer questions for at least an hour. Usually it ends up going quite a bit longer than that, and thanks for everybody participating to make that happen. This is one of my favorite things that we do during the week, and always fun to do it twice like we did this week again. Next Tuesday, we are, hopefully, fingers crossed, finally bringing back Marvel Mania, getting to the long-awaited Ant-Man and the Wasp commentary, so look forward to that. If you want to make sure tonight that your question or a comment gets read on the air, you can leave a super chat in any dollar amount. We are 85 to 90% funded by the audience, and that helps us out a great deal, but if you are not able to do that, certainly we appreciate everybody that does, but you're awesome just for being here, and leave questions if you're so inclined just in the regular comments. They're live. Direct them at DJ Martinez, and he will answer as many of those, or ask me as many of those as possible as well. And you can also direct stuff to these guys too, so that I can occasionally take a break and drink a little bit of tea. This is my favorite Batman mug. Have I ever shown you guys this mug? This is the 89 mug that I have, or at least it's from the year 1989, and it's still in really good shape. I've had this for 30 years now, and it's my favorite mug. I'm always terrified of dropping this because I've had it for so long.
Yeah, that would be quite a bummer. It's a good run you're going with that mug.
Yeah.
Tonight's lead-in topic is the potential for Chris Evans returning as Captain America. I say potential because this is another one of those Keaton things where it seemed like a done deal, and then I've heard from Blue Dragon 5 and others that apparently Chris Evans, and I have not looked into this deeply, so I don't know how true this is, but what I'm hearing is that Chris Evans found out about this at the same time as the rest of us. That he didn't know he was coming back as Captain America. So if that's true, it's hard to say for sure if this will happen, but I'd be real surprised if he said no if they had particular plans for it. Had you guys heard that as well?
Yes, but that also means like nothing. The woman who got cast as She-Hulk, the showrunner of that show like came out on Twitter to congratulate her. Same with Ruffalo, and then a week later she was denying that she was cast. So.
That's crazy.
I could see it going either way.
So chances are this actually happens. He's not under contract anymore or anything, so if he really doesn't want to do it, they can't force him. But I would imagine they would be pretty confident that he would be returning if they came out and said it. I don't know why you wouldn't talk to the man first, though. That seems like ultra unprofessional to me at the very least. That's very strange.
Well, I think Holland said they did that with him with Spider-Man, where he found out.
Yeah, I think he found out when they announced it, yeah.
But
was
this officially an announcement, or was it... it must have been a leak, right? Because all the articles I read said that Marvel didn't comment on it.
Yeah. So this is even more likely that he doesn't know about it.
Yeah, it was Deadline.
Well, I guess in that case, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the Deadline article is what I had. Apparently, they have some kind of plans for him, but we don't know yet what exactly that is. There's been tons and tons of speculation all day long about what it means that Chris Evans would return as Captain America. He had said back in May that there were no plans on bringing his character back, and he was really happy with the place that they left him in, and he was afraid that it would kind of, go against the integrity of the end of Endgame and his character if they did bring him back. So this was immediately surprising news. I guess given that quote, it makes even more sense that he didn't know about this when it was announced. But there are lots of different ways that he could be brought back, of course. A lot of people are speculating perhaps they'll do the kind of old man Captain America thing, old man Steve Rogers thing that they did in the comics a few years ago, where he might be running S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that, or might be just working in some sort of advisory capacity where he wouldn't be, Captain America and wearing the costume, but he would be, advising Avengers or advising S.H.I.E.L.D. or again, leading S.H.I.E.L.D. To some degree. My assumption, and the only thing that Deadline was pretty sure about with this whole thing was that it wouldn't be his own movie again. He would be a supporting character, and it would be very strange to announce, yeah, we changed our minds. He's gonna be in his own movie again, and we didn't bother to announce that when we announced 80 other movies. Like this just happened. That would be very strange, but that is a thing that you have to clarify, because people will immediately take a thing and run with it and be like, oh, Chris Evans is getting another Captain America movie. That is probably not what's happening.
Another Captain America franchise.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier will end with Steve coming back and being like, never mind, and he'll take the shield back.
So who knows what this is? Who knows if this is like a cameo capacity thing? A lot of people are also just like with some other things, immediately jumping the gun and going, this must be connected to multiverse. We're hearing that with a lot of announcements now. Oh, they must be doing this because of the multiverse thing. And if he's playing a younger Steve Rogers, that certainly could make sense, because if he is, because somebody asked the question on a question on Tuesday on our show about the potential for, you know, bringing back characters in other universes and like continuing on franchises that you couldn't have continued otherwise. This would be a way to do that, certainly, without ruining, you know, the ending of that. So like, even if you did something with Chris Evans as a younger Captain America from another universe and it was terrible, it doesn't ruin what they did at the end of Endgame necessarily. So I guess that would be okay if that's what they did. I don't know. My money is, and I'm not basing this on anything except for like maybe Feige's sensibilities and the sensibilities of the folks that have worked on Captain America movies so far. My guess is a cameo or like a single episode where he's a guest star in Captain America, or in Falcon Winter Soldier. If they were to make another season. Obviously it can't be this season because they're done with that already. And so, I don't know. I guess I'm spitballing as I'm talking. They've not done the Netflix thing and said that those things are multi-season, so maybe not. Maybe I'm completely off base on that. But if we knew they were doing another season, I would think that that's where you would do that. But if not a TV show with somebody else, you know, dealing with the legacy of Captain America or with somebody else in that suit, my money is on Old Man Cap before it's a multiversal Captain America, because that seems like a really cool opportunity to waste, to just have him behind a desk somewhere where you bring him back for a minute. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's more likely to be multiversal? I'm sticky about going to that place yet because we haven't seen how they're handling it. I think that's why I'm kind of iffy about it.
Yeah, no, it's probably the Old Man Cap thing. There was also like a rumor for a long time that they were going to do a Nomad series that took place between Civil War and Infinity War, and I don't know how likely that would be, but
yeah, same
maybe
here.
that. Yeah, no, it's probably some sort of cameo or something.
Do you guys have any feelings about this? Like, is this a thing that you're immediately kind of you know, resisting or rejecting because of the end of Endgame, or are you like, no, that's fine if they handle it right? What do you think, DJ?
No, I don't want it to happen. He went out great. I think that's a great way to go out, and I would hate him to go out on like a crappy cameo, or even if it's a good cameo, just like a cameo is like his last appearance. I don't know. That's weird. And I definitely don't want, like, I don't know. I don't know. He went out perfectly. It was the perfect ending for that character. I don't know. I don't need anything. I don't want it to be like, I guess if they want to do something in the past, or that's like a younger Captain America. That's
yeah, it could be a flashback thing. And I'm surprised I didn't mention that, because that was my actual initial first reaction, was it's probably a flashback thing.
Yeah, but I don't want to drag old Cap out again and like use him again, or like try to explain what he did when he went in the past. I could see them doing that, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of lukewarm about it. Maybe it could work, but I'm satisfied with what I got from him. I think he went out on top.
If it's, I mean, I agree with that, but I'm open-minded. If it's handled really, really tastefully, and you did a story where, like, you needed some kind of information that only he has, or something like that, if you brought back, like, for instance, let's say you said that, like, somehow Arnim Zola's, like program survived, and you needed Steve Rogers because he knew something about Zola that nobody else knew, or something like that. I would be okay for like a one last hurrah if it wasn't like an in-action thing, because I wouldn't want it to be like you know, Picard at the Picard show, where like he you know, he can't like go upstairs very well, but he can like, you know, punch guys at 90 years old. You know, I don't want that. But I think it.
Well, yeah.
I think it could be cool if he showed up for something, if he was really integral for that story. I wouldn't necessarily want to keep doing it, but I really draw the line at going back in time and telling some kind of story with him when he was with Peggy Carter. I don't want to see any of that.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is he's not actually 70 years old. Like,
true.
Like the actors on Cobra Kai, and watching them try to do anything is really... really cringy. I don't know if you've watched any of that third season yet.
We actually just started it tonight. I'm 3 episodes in.
Oh, so I'm 3 episodes in. Yeah, and the junkyard or whatever that like car shop fight. I'm like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Daniel, you're 70 years old. You don't look like it. I forget because you look like you're still like 30.
He's not 70.
He is really
like
old.
80.
Yeah, he's old. He just looks super young. But then when he starts to move, you're like, oh yeah, you're really old.
You're talking about the guy who plays Daniel LaRusso?
Yeah, he's like 60 something.
Nah, he's like mid-50s still, isn't he?
I don't know. I'll look it up, but yeah. But anyway, just watching.
Keep in mind, Kreese is still around, and he would be a generation beyond them.
That's true, and they're
we
also
just did
having
flashbacks to the
season.
60s, dude. Don't want to do too much spoiler talk for that show, but yeah, it's hilarious that you and I are in the same place.
I got 3 episodes in.
We will review that not too long from now. That's a real easy bingey show, and the episodes are short, and so I'm sure we'll blow through them over the weekend. So probably a week or two. Either Jason and I or Jason and I and DJ. Jason's not digging on it yet. He really liked the cliffhanger at the end of the third episode, but beyond that, he's not digging it yet.
Yeah, I wasn't liking it either. I kind of took a break from it. I watched a few episodes at the beginning of the week, and I just couldn't get myself to get back into it. I don't know. It's kind of meandering around, and it's kind of lost its pace that it had last season.
And maybe it's just that I still like the overall tone and the production of that show, that like that's still getting me through it, because like I'm intrigued, certainly. Like I don't really have feelings about it yet. I don't know. I'm kind of just watching it at this point.
Yeah. Well, and Jason just went through seasons 1 and 2, so that's probably having an effect on it, because it probably feels a little different to him. And you haven't gone. I haven't gone back to season 1 and 2. But yeah, I might get through it, and yeah, I'll let you know. But that's not what this show's about.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. We like to. DJ and I don't have enough time to talk apart from when we're recording or broadcasting. So you have to hear all of our planning on the show. DJ, let's go to the phone, shall we? What are folks saying? Let's start with something pre-written, and if you have some things that are about that opening subject, feel free, and if not, take us wherever you want to. Tonight's show is about whatever you guys want it to be about. We can keep talking about MCU news, or we can go anywhere else that you want to in pop culture, sci-fi, etc., etc. Go ahead, DJ.
Cap, assuming, but he is 59, by the way. We got that in the chat. About to turn 60, they say.
Okay. All right. But super old is hyperbolic. Now, I don't buy that he beat those guys in that shop as easily as they. It looked like it was choreographed the way it was choreographed, where it's like they went into that fight knowing they were supposed to lose it.
Yeah, they really lose the that first movie's got a lot of realism to it. Even with Mr. Miyagi, with the stunt double that you can immediately tell is a stunt double and not the comedian actor from Happy Days.
You're right. It's missing some grit, and it's kind of forcing grit to some degree.
Yeah, it's like it's like they make it's because it's super choreographed, and then they like make up for it by getting super violent. But yeah, I don't know. I want to watch through it because my friend is in it. He plays one of the Cobra Kai kids. He's like the third kid. Yeah, he's a stunt guy, and he's been in the first 2 seasons as one of the kids, but he's actually getting speaking roles this time, so I want to check it out. His name's Chris.
That's great.
Schmidt. But yeah, I don't know. I'll stick with it if I can. Blue Dragon 5, about the topic. Cap, assuming Evans does return to the role, do you think old Steve Rogers will appear in the Secret Invasion series?
That would be the place, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was saying in the chat. So
as long as he's not a Skrull.
Skrull?
I think
old man Skrull.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if you had like some Skrull infiltrators, and he was for some reason one of the few people that we could be absolutely certain wasn't, and that's why he has to come back.
What if that show just opens with like Steve dies and he's a Skrull, and they're like, oh no.
Or if you have a Skrull, I don't want this. This is a joke, by the way. If you have a Skrull that's masquerading as younger Steve Rogers because he didn't get the memo of what happened with elderly Steve Rogers, and then everybody immediately is just like, that's probably a Skrull because that's a 35-year-old man.
You do the Cap versus Cap fight again, but one of them's 70.
The other thing to no, in that case, he's more like 90. You guys are really great with math and age today. But with something else to keep in mind with Chris Evans is he's only gonna yeah, he's only gonna be able to do like flashback type stuff for so long. We'll get to a point where he's gonna be old enough where that will be harder to buy. But I guess it just depends on how far back you go and stuff, right?
Well, unless they do like the Red Dragon thing, where Hannibal Lecter's like 30 years older, despite it being a prequel.
Sure. I always kind of assumed that I don't think I've ever talked about this. I always kind of assumed that the super soldier formula would make you age like slightly slower, and that does not seem to be the case. It doesn't seem to affect aging at all.
Yeah, that's what I would have assumed.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I guess not. What if he just came back and he was just still 30? And they were like, "Oh, where'd he go?"
He's just sitting on the bench and oh, there he is. Never mind, we found him.
That was the thing that I was worried about for a while, where I was like, well, how long can Chris Evans even play it if he's supposed to, like Superman not really age? And he does age. Oh, okay. Like I wasn't sure, and ironically, the movie where they write him out is the one where we discover that he ages.
Yeah, I feel like that was the case, that he wasn't aging until we got to that movie, and they're like, oh, we got to write him out, so let's make him age. At least that's the sense I got before that.
Yeah, I always thought, I don't know. I guess at this point I don't know why I assumed that, but
I don't know. There's got to be something else, isn't he? Like, well, no, the Spider-Man 90 show is like this weird thing where he doesn't get stuck in ice. He just gets like
he's in a portal
frozen,
where he's constantly fighting Red Skull.
Yeah, they just like freeze and teleport into the future.
Well, that's my favorite because they're like grappling for all eternity.
And yeah, that's great. That's hilarious.
That's what should have happened.
I've been going through the 90s X-Men show, and I just never get tired of the goofy stuff from that period. Do you ever watch those? It's sort of like Gotham was, right? You ever watch that and go, okay, is this intentionally ridiculous? Or do they know how ridiculous this is? I have that a lot with that show.
I mean, I never watched X-Men, but I had that with Spider-Man, certainly.
Oh, you gotta, because you would love that show. DJ, let's get some more questions, man.
All right, this is from Speed Vescu.
Hello.
Vescu. He's from Europe. Challenge, give your best pitch. Oh, look at this. Give your best pitch for Cobra Kai style Back to the Future show starring Biff Tannen.
That's hilarious. I mean, just
make him the hero.
Just the idea. That's a great pitch by itself. I don't really care what the story is. Where you got like an older Biff. It would be fun to do a thing that's all about how like the future is what you make it, not written already. So like 2015 and now 2021 like doesn't look like it was supposed to with that. It would be amusing if you did a story where somehow Biff like is aware of what the other timeline looked like. I don't know how you do that, but it might be funny if you had protagonist in your Back to the Future show. It's like really disappointed that the future is not as cool and crazy as it is in Back to the Future 2, and if hilariously as somewhat dystopian as that looks, we make like the realistic period we live in now seem worse than that was. But yeah, I don't know what exactly you do with a like older Biff show. And he would be elderly. Like, would you give him that cane? Would he have to like limp around all the time? And it'd be really funny to see that actor do that. What would you do with it?
It's just elderly Biff in a home, like beating people with his cane. There's no time travel or like other shenanigans. He just lives in a home.
It's just a day in the life of an abusive elderly person.
Yeah, exactly. But there's like hover boards and stuff in the background if you look out the window.
That's really funny. Actually, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking maybe it's like a revenge thriller. Where
like that Vince Vaughn movie that he did.
he just snaps one day, where like he like old Biff in Back to the Future 2, he kind of just like goes through his day and just deals with everything and kind of like lives in the background, and then one day he just totally snaps and he like goes after the remnants of the McFly family, and he just tries to like burn everything to the ground. So like every episode he's just after some like big iconic thing in Back to the Future, like he burns down the clock tower, and then like he burns down Doc Brown's house like a second time.
Yeah,
that's
he
that show.
strangles people with his like waxing like towel thing that he has.
and
the title would just be Biff. That would be the title.
No. You have to do what IDW did and call it Biff to the Future, because it's right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you do have to do that. Oh, it might be great if at the same time as he's trying to get revenge on everybody, he's also himself trying to reinvent the time machine. He's going to like night school for like science classes. That'd be fantastic.
People in the chat are just saying how terrifying we're like making this character terrifying now.
Yeah, and he can have like a scientific sidekick that's like Doc Brown's granddaughter. And she's also evil. She wants to go back in time and kill Doc so that he never invented the time machine.
Jeez, this is a dark movie. This is like a
There's no way to
Bad.
make this except dark. Like it's not possible. Like yeah, we could try to finagle some way where he's more sympathetic, like Johnny and Cobra Kai, but that's not entertaining. I don't want that. I don't want sympathetic Biff.
Yeah, and at the end we go back to the first movie and they kill Marty and Doc. So Doc's sliding down the wire and like Biff cuts the wire so he just falls.
CG
Oh my
Biff.
god, that's amazing.
Clock tower.
And then you go back and you just you redo every major scene, but you make it horrific.
It's like
Yeah.
Lion King 1.5. Biff's just always off screen, like digging prairie
Ruining
dog holes or
everything.
something. All right.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah. Yeah, and I want to see him on stage like doing a spoken word version of Johnny Be Good. I don't know. Like I just got this image now of Biff Tannen trying to take a quantum physics test. It's all I want now. It's all I want in my life. Okay. What else you got?
All right, let's go in a completely different direction and get sad for a moment. John
Hello?
Ty,
Anybody home? Sorry.
does being a unique person mean you have to be a lonely one because that means you're not like everyone else?
This is John Ty, right?
Yep.
I didn't hear what
I
you
don't have
said,
to
but
tell
it's clearly John Ty. Yeah. John is really
Clearly.
preoccupied with the notion of uniqueness right now. John, are you feeling lonely and not unique yourself? Sorry if you're having that. But interesting questions. Yeah. I mean, short answer is no. I mean, I don't. I don't feel like I have to be like totally like by myself and not associate with people to feel unique. Can you read the end of that question again? 'Cause I feel like I missed a part of it.
Well, he's saying the opposite. He's saying if you are unique,
Yeah.
do you have to be lonely because that means you're not like everyone else? But I don't
No,
feel like you
I
have
mean-
to be
So
like
no,
people.
long answer yes, but with a but.
Because oftentimes the friends you're around are not like you. Exactly. I mean, you have things in common, but you got to be a little different. You can't be exactly the same.
Yeah, the ways in which everyone is the same are the reasons that we're a communal species and we need each other. So that's my answer to that.
Cool.
What else have you served?
I have Hawk Flame with us this evening.
Hot Flame, good to see you, man. What's up?
Flame.
Where do you think DC should take the Wonder Woman franchise after the mixed, at best, results of Wonder Woman 84?
Clearly the answer is the far-flung future.
Yeah, what did we talk about? Me, you, and Connor we were on a roll in that video. We had some crazy Wonder Woman sequel that was
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember what we were
I
talking
don't
about,
know that.
but it was really funny. But yeah, you're gonna have to do something completely different.
No, I think it's finally a present day thing. I think you got to quit doing period pieces and catch it up now, especially because you had so much time. Like, even if that second movie was less, I don't want to say polarizing. I mean, if more people liked that movie, I would probably still be saying this. I think, and you know, I don't mean to make everything about symmetry, but I feel like if you've got that many years between your first and second movie, it would be kind of weird for the next one to be like, okay, let's have this take place in the year 1996 or, you know, 2003. Like, I don't know. And
don't do the 90s.
Is it still too early to do period pieces set in the early 2000s?
Yeah, I don't know what that looks like. How would you distinguish it? People have that cut with like the spiked up gelled hair. That's what guys
and
would
you'd have that
every
awkward.
guy looks the same.
Yes, and you'd have that awkward period, and too many people wear sunglasses when there's no sun out, and you have like an awkward number of people having cell phones, not having cell phones, and a lot of conversations about when are you finally going to get one. You live in the dark ages, and people with like, you know, iPods and stuff. And I want that scene where you have somebody with like 7 devices that are all in this now, just sitting on their lap.
Yeah, and Diana's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm on my chat room."
But anyway, I'm just talking about time period. I think you want to set it present day. As far as like what the actual story would be, it would be nice to get it rooted back in Greek mythology again, I think. And not make it, you know, any kind of a pastiche of anything this time. I think, honestly, the right way to go is probably something like pretty epic and pretty dead serious.
Yeah, that'd be the way to go after Magic Rock turns Guy into said Magic Rock and controls the world.
Man, I still say if that stone had just taken him literally, you'd have no movie.
Just whoop. I hope how it should have ended.
I want to be the stone. Okay, that's what they should do.
That's what they have to do.
He just turns into a rock, and then it's over, and then they go, oh, well, we still have time left in our videos, so, but maybe it could be like this. It'll be one of those videos, right, where they do like 5 of them.
Oh, they could do so many for that movie. That would be great. I'm looking forward to that.
20-minute long video.
But yeah, I'm talking pretty generalized. I don't have like a brilliant notion or anything. But I think you gotta really sober up after that last movie, certainly. And obviously you gotta get past Steve. You don't want to come up with yet some other reason to bring him back. And don't do the ancestor thing now that you've already brought him back once. Like, they could have maybe gotten away with that if that was the way they brought that actor back. But, you know, if that's how they did Chris Pine. Although in this day and age, that gets really weird for people. Like, decades ago, you could kind of do that. It wasn't as weird to people, but it really is now, where it's like, she falls in love with the son of her former lover. Nobody wants that. So you can't do that anyway, really. But yeah, so get away from that whole thing. Everybody's tired of her, you know, pining for this guy that she knew a couple weeks, and I love that relationship, but we do throw her under the bus, I think, pretty hard, where for decades she's pining after him and not really doing much with her life except working at a museum.
Gosh. Connor said it doesn't get much more serious than Wonder Woman 9/11.
Oh, man!
Well, now that's what I want.
Connor, like, I know that's a joke, but I could see it, too. Like, there's something there. Wow. That's amazing.
Finds out that Superman's what caused 9/11.
Superman wasn't even around. So you're saying like a teenage Clark Kent caused 9/11?
Yeah, he just like sneezed or like ran, like tripped and fell or something. And Jonathan, of course, covered it up. But yeah, I think they should just steer into it at this point and make every make them like an anthology.
That would be pretty tasteless, DJ.
Make like anthology movies where the cast always comes back, but she's the only one that's the same character. So yeah, you bring Chris Pine back, bring Pedro Pascal back as the villain again. Yeah, we've never done that before. Just do
have
anthology
movies. Have like a great. I might have said ancestor earlier when I meant the opposite. Pardon me. Have like
Descendant.
Descendant. Have the like granddaughter or great granddaughter of Etta Candy, and like that actress comes back.
I just want Pedro Pascal as the villain to look at the burning wreckage of 9/11 and then just a tear goes down his face like Dr. Doom.
Okay, I feel like we need to move on. Let's go. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do that. We apologize if we're coming off as tasteless, as Austin is making 9/11 jokes and DJ is suggesting that we make a real life terrorist attack in fiction caused by a teenage superhero doing something benign. Anyway,
I was just saying that because everybody jokes about the Man of Steel fight as if it's 9/11. So
yeah.
I didn't think about how that was like 12 years after that. TH1, will you be doing the long-awaited sequel, Waiting on WandaVision? What do you want from season 3 of the Okay, there's no punctuation. He's just going to completely different topics. So I'm gonna. Will you be doing the long-awaited sequel, Waiting on WandaVision? Oh, I got it. I got it.
I know what he's talking about.
What do you want from season 3 of the Orville? What would a Geekvolution movie co-written and co-directed by Michael Bay and Zack Snyder look like?
Oh, well, I guess I'll start at the end. Nothing at all like the channel, but that's pretty par for the course for both of those directors. So that's fine. They would just make a big, giant, loud, like difficult to look at action movie where all of the characters don't really resemble at all in tone or spirit the characters that they're adapting. Sure. So I'm a Nazi in that movie probably. But anyway, so yeah, there's that, and then no, I'm not gonna do Waiting on WandaVision. Because there's not any question there. We know exactly when that drops. The Orville thing was weird because it's like on the... And that was just Eric and I messing around. So, yeah, I don't have any plans to do a thing like that again. But, like with that, we didn't know when that was going to show up on that network. And, like, Disney Plus has particular drop times. So, like, you know, we'll know when that drops. By the way, as far as WandaVision goes, because I've been getting this question, so I'll go ahead and preempt it here. My plan at the moment is to probably do a how I felt about, if not a how we felt about with somebody else, on the first 2 episodes when they drop tomorrow, because I think we're supposed to get 2, and then wait until the whole season is over to talk about it in a spoiler cast, or it might just be a spoiler cast. It just depends on how busy I am over the weekend or the beginning of the week. So if time gets away from me, I may not end up doing it how I felt about, but if I can work it in, I'll go ahead and sit down just for excuse me, pardon me, just for a few minutes. And talk about the first couple episodes of that. And yeah, it was like I couldn't breathe for like a fraction of a second. It was very strange.
I was about to jump through the screen and save you.
Season 3 of the Orville, I don't know exactly what I want. I kind of just want to be surprised by it. I don't really want to like try to, you know, spitball and come up with a bunch of cool things they could do for that season. I would like it to be maybe a little bit more serialized. I think that would be cool. I think it would be nice to see them get a little bit further away from TNG and get a little bit closer to Deep Space Nine. And they were starting to do a lot of really nice mythology and political stuff in the second half of that season. So I want them to play more with the Moclans and you know, other species that are that aren't you know, in. It's been a while since I've watched that show, not the Federation, the Union in that show, in, you know, characters that are in and out of the Union, and their, you know, relationship with them politically and socially and all of that. I want more of that stuff because they were really, really good at it.
Cool. Tyler Thompson, is Jean Grey oversaturated?
I don't know that she is these days, but I'm not reading comics right now much. So after they brought her back, I don't know how much she's been all over the place. I'm assuming that she's pretty major in Hickman's X-Men stuff. I mean, she was there at the beginning, but I haven't read past the you know, first couple big things that they put out. So yeah, I don't know. As far as just in general, like for the fandom of X-Men, at one time, I would say so, but I mean, that was decades ago at this point.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, at least in movies, like they don't do anything with her until she's Phoenix. So I would say Phoenix is saturated, but like
yeah,
they don't know what to do with her without Phoenix, so she just kind of stands there and runs the machine that heals people or something. I don't know.
Yeah, she's no more oversaturated than like Wolverine.
Well, I don't
Oh,
think
no,
she's ever been
definitely not.
remotely that oversaturated. She's never had
No.
5 titles at the same time. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's Phoenix before it's Jean Grey.
Yeah, like she's only been in like X1 and Apocalypse, where she wasn't Phoenix or hinting at Phoenix or about
No,
to be Phoenix.
Apocalypse says Phoenix. That's how they beat Apocalypse.
Oh gosh. Well then, never mind. She's always Phoenix except for the first X-Men movie.
Yep. And that first movie, they kind of play it like something that, like the events at the end of that movie triggered the Phoenix.
Oh yeah, we go
She
back.
is essentially always has Phoenix in her somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
And then of course that's retcon in X3 where we find out the whole thing is a psychological disorder. But
Still don't think I'm gonna watch that before we do the Mania. I don't know. Dark Phoenix. We'll see. I might just be completely lost, and I might need to watch it.
That is your prerogative, man.
I just don't want to be completely silent the whole time. Connor Nielsen, $10 super chat.
Hi, Connor.
Fave characters are generally found in our youth, but once in a while there are new faves as an adult. Who are some characters you've fallen in love with in recent years? For him, it is Mortimer in A Few Dollars More.
Yeah, Connor, that's a great question, man. Because you're absolutely right. You know, you'll fall in love with certain characters when you're younger, and they'll kind of stick with you your whole life and have a lot to do with your personal development. And a lot of us, as teenagers, go through a period where we're trying to, like, you know, integrate personality traits of, like, our favorite fictional characters and stuff while we're trying to find ourselves, you know, emulation and that kind of thing. And then, you know, arguably, you grow up and as an adult, you maybe don't have it as much where you'll gravitate to a character in a thing initially, but then it won't stick with you as hard as it does when you're a kid. So, yeah, I need to think about it for a minute. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind certainly is Falcon.
Yeah.
But do you guys have some good answers?
I'm struggling to think of stuff. I keep thinking of things I found in like high school.
I would. Yeah, well, yeah, what's the cutoff? He says in your youth. I guess we're cutting off after graduating high school?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I'm not sure.
Which is easier for me because I'm a little bit older than you guys, so I've got some years after that. Like, anything in the last decade for me is well into adulthood.
I would say Sherlock Holmes. I didn't really get into Sherlock Holmes until after high school, like when I started listening to I think that tracks. That was when, in college. So yeah, and I love the character. Obviously, I've watched Benedict Cumberbatch's show after that. Well, actually, oh man, I guess it doesn't count because I at least watched. Maybe some people don't even count this, but I at least watched the first Robert Downey movie because that came out in 2009 and I graduated high school in 2010, so I at least knew of the character, but I didn't get into the books or anything until after I graduated high school. So
I think that still counts. Yeah.
That was like an isolated incident until I got into the character more. Recently, very, very recently, I've got into the character of, not really the character, I guess, of Mowgli, but just Jungle Book in general. And Mowgli's a really cool character, but not, because I didn't grow up with the 60s cartoon. And then when I watched it as an adult, I was like, this is just kind of a goofy cartoon where it's like a vignette piece where he just like goofs around with this animal and then goofs around with this animal. But then I loved the 2016 Jungle Book, which got me really into it. And I watched Andy Serkis's Jungle Book, and then I read the book, which is very different and is much more like Andy Serkis's. Then the Disney didn't even look at the book. They were just kind of like revamping the cartoon when they did their 2016 version. But then I recently, on HBO Max, this week watched the 1942 film, which is awesome, and I highly recommend it. It's really cool. It's with Sabu, who is like the Tom Cruise of the 40s, man. He's like doing everything. He's like jumping off these giant things and like swimming with this snake and like doing all these crazy stunts. And his name is just Sabu, one name. He's like an Indian actor. But that 40s movie is super cool. It's like crazy set. But anyway, the character's interesting. We're talking about the characters. So I've been on a Mowgli kick. I just watched like the 94 Disney version too, which was not as good, but yeah, that's what I
did. You like the circus one?
I did not finish the circus one. I need to go back to it. I watched it right after the 2016 one, and I hadn't read the book yet. But now that I know it's much closer to the book, it's very jarring because most of the Jungle Book,
sure,
he's not even in the jungle. Like he goes to the city very early on, and then he like learns how to speak, and then it's mostly fighting with humans. But so it was very jarring coming out of the Disney one. But yeah, I'm gonna that's my next one. I'm gonna go through the Andy Serkis one.
Fair enough. The only reason why I wondered was like I know it didn't get like the best reviews, but everybody I know that's seen it said they liked it. So
Yeah, it's super dark. It's very similar to the book. But yeah.
I think my actual response to this, the more I'm thinking about it, has to be Gus Fring, right? Like from Breaking Bad, I love Gus Fring. He's such a fascinating character study, and obviously Walter White is a really interesting character study as well. In recent years, that is the only show that I've gone back to and rewatched as many times as I have. I've probably watched through that show 4 or 5 times at this point, and I don't do that with things anymore. But I just really get in the mood for that, and I cannot stop studying it. It's fascinating. I guess I was an adult once I got into Buffy and Angel really hard too, and Angel's a really important heroic character for me as well. So I guess I have to say that too.
yeah, well, and I'm watching Buffy right now.
How far in are you? You told me the other day that you just finished season 1, but I don't know how much you've watched since then.
I just started season 3.
Oh wow, cool. 2's awesome. Especially the second half of 2. The first half's a little meandering, but it gets really tight in 3. 3 is my favorite season.
Yeah, I really enjoyed 2.
Yeah, and I would even
Wheelchair Spike is one of the better Spikes. He's hilarious. I'm sorry, Austin.
cool.
What were you saying? Or not Austin. I'm sorry, DJ. What were you saying?
No, I was just going to say real quick that I would probably throw Captain America on that list too, because the MCU is really what got me into that character a lot.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's kind of my Captain America, just because I haven't tried any other Captain. Oh, I did read Ultimate Captain. I read the first Ultimates when I was a kid, but that's not the same Captain America
That's
at all.
unfortunate. That's not going to inspire anybody. That is a deconstruction book. That is not about necessarily inspiring people. It's a great book, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about Cap too, but like Age of Ultron came out when I was still in high school, so I figured that didn't count.
Did you notice that place in? We'll talk about this on Sunday, but Austin, that place in Terminator 3 where all of a sudden you just have like a lady-shaped Ultron.
Oh yeah,
That totally happens.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Did she sing Pinocchio's song?
I wish. I wish Arnold sang it.
That's another thing that we should say though. Like, I'm getting into way more characters because I'm showing my son like all the Disney movies, like going in order. So I didn't grow up with every Disney movie. I only had like a handful back in then, but he's watching all of them. So I'm getting into characters that he loves. Like he loves Bambi, even though it's super depressing. That was like one of his favorite ones. He's watched it like 6 times. So I'm very familiar with the story of Bambi now. Also Pinocchio, which is another super dark one he likes. So I'm getting into a lot of characters.
I could not watch that over and over again. Pinocchio. That movie depresses me.
Yeah, he's still 2, so he's not.
As soon as
really...
they go to the island, I'm out, man. Like, ugh.
Yeah, that's that thing that I was talking about last show, where it's like he doesn't really understand yet. He's just like watching the animation and stuff. But yeah, I might have to like back him off of those depressing movies when he's like 5 or 6.
Real quick, DJ, I want to tackle something that I just saw.
Sure.
And I think I've discussed this before, but Divid22 is a regular, and he doesn't know it, so maybe there's some other folks that have not heard me talk about this. We have done 144 of these at this point. Divid22, does Cap have a southern accent? I don't anymore, but I did when I lived in Arkansas, and anytime I go back, if I'm there for any significant time, the drawl tends to come back a little bit, and I can't help myself. Like I would have to like work really hard at keeping it out of my speech, and I sound like the last person on the planet that would have a southern drawl. But if you get me back to the South, or sometimes if it's like really late at night and I've been drinking a little bit and I get really silly, it'll come back a tiny bit, but I can't turn it on and off. So he was like, later in the comments, he said that I've been depriving them of that, and he wants to hear it, and I can't turn it on and off. So
yeah, well, you heard it here first. Tune in to After Dark for Cap's southern accent at 12 o'clock when he's been drinking.
But just like tiny inklings of it. It'll never like come into full force or anything.
Well, it's like a game. It's like a little scavenger hunt.
Can you spot Cap's southern accent?
But my wife has that exact same thing. When we go visit her family back in Mississippi, just like a couple days there, and it'll start coming out. It's really interesting how that happens.
I will say though, with her, it's not as it would not be as dramatic as of a shift as mine, because I could tell just talking to her for a few minutes that it was still lingering.
Yeah. I mean, she lived there for 22 years, so
yeah, and I did not live in Arkansas that long, despite initially being from there. Yeah.
And like I've lived here in Georgia for more than half my life now, but my first 10 years I lived in Pennsylvania. That's why I don't have a southern accent, because
you don't
those are
have
my
an accent at all.
formative years. So even though I've been
all
here...
south of me.
Yeah, what's a southern Canadian accent?
That's because to us you live in space.
Is that true? John Ty says we're getting a...
No, it's not true. Austin does not live in space.
No, John Ty says we're getting a remake of Pinocchio by Guillermo del Toro, which is amazing.
True.
Del Toro is doing Pinocchio?
That's awesome. Did you know...
I'm sorry, say that again, Austin.
That it's not Disney, it's Netflix is doing that, yeah.
Oh, cool.
I think it's animated, though.
Do you know Pinocchio is the most famous Italian work that's been, like, the one that gets translated the most? It's like a huge deal.
Isn't that mentioned in Aquaman? Or am I wrong about that?
if
don't they go to Italy?
You know what? I think maybe you're right. I think that is talked about there. That's really funny.
I did not remember that, but that's awesome. That, of all things, Aquaman taught me something.
I think they do the whale thing, and then they're like, where did you get that idea from? And then they go to Italy, and she's like, oh, Pinocchio.
Wow. I don't even remember that.
DJ, it just occurs to me with all of the Pinocchio talk and the Mowgli talk and Disney stuff, that if you ran to the show, it would be a very different show.
Well, I have a 2-year-old, man. I'm trying to get him cultured. You can tell that I have a 2-year-old because I'm so hip deep in family stuff right now.
I can definitely talk Disney stuff. It's all good, DJ. You're not alone.
Let's talk about Saludos Amigos and make mine.
See, I shouldn't have said Disney because it's less Disney and more like fairy tale stuff, right? Like DJ's like picking up the book, not the movie.
Well, I could get the movie too back there.
What color is it
Pinocchio?
under?
Pinocchio is dark blue. Blue.
Naturally, we both went there. My favorite thing is that you know where they are. Like, you don't lose things in color.
No, we're good.
It's insane. You're just like, I want to watch Ninja Turtles. Well, we better go look at the oranges, not the greens. No, it's weird. It's orange.
I mean, if you want Jungle Book...
They have that weird, like, pineapple thing that they're...
Jungle Book?
I don't know what that cover is about.
Oh, that's Psych. Yeah. The other Jungle Book is green over there, the 2016 one.
Okay,
but anyway.
I'm seeing quite a few Super Chats left, so let's keep rolling, shall we?
JJI, if you had complete control of the content material you use copyright free, what videos would you make on the channel?
Oh, wow. That's an excellent question. Rewind would look like it used to. That's the first thing. And it probably would even have more video clips and stuff. It would be more like the more recent iteration that I was doing when it wasn't a glorified podcast. Now it's a straight-up podcast, not even glorified anymore. It's literally a go to Spotify. You can listen to it. It's a podcast now. But I would probably use more video clips for reference, and it would be a lot more polished than it ever was. I would do more stuff. I mean, if you could use anything copyrighted, like no matter how long it was there, I would post the film with our commentaries underneath it, where you wouldn't even have to sync it. Like if you could, of course I would do that.
Yeah.
I would do a lot more stuff on music. I would probably do like album commentaries and things like that. But I mean, yeah, if the world were my oyster like that, I would have a million ideas would spring to mind that don't now, because I know that I can't use much copyright material. Yeah, what a cool question.
Post movies.
You'd be one of those channels that gets away with it for a couple months and then gets deleted.
My favorite are, have you seen those ones where it'll be like every single MCU film and it's just like little boxes on the screen and it's every single one and they play all at once?
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
That's hilarious.
That's like an experiment.
Yeah, no.
And then both Avengers end at those boxes disappear at the exact same time.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it like the 2015 from Back to the Future 2, where you watch a bunch of TV channels all at once.
Too bad Brandon's not here. This is the most Back to the Future non-Brandon show we've ever had.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. And originally he was supposed to be here because we were going to do After Dark tonight, but then we had to do this show late, so that's not happening. Next week we should be bringing After Dark back as well. Patrons.
I've been saving all my eBay rants. I have so many eBay rants. eBay has been failing me lately.
Oh no.
Been having so I'll save it for After Dark.
A lot of packages not getting to you and having to
no,
do
not even
refunds
getting to shipped. Like it's not. It's a whole.
No.
It's like offering me things that the seller doesn't even have anymore, and I pay for it, and the seller's like, I don't have that anymore. I already sold it. Like it's a whole nightmare. So we're having to do a bunch of refunds and stuff. Mr. Abato, all of you are in the Sharknado world.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
What do you do? I'm assuming while a Sharknado is happening.
Probably die, but like hopefully not.
Yeah,
I can't swim. I'm not a great swimmer, so I'm dying first. I'm also not good at sharks.
Don't swim on camera, just in a Sharknado.
Then we'll finally get that video shot.
I mean, the first thing that springs to mind is stop ever trying to do anything satirical, because you really live in a world at that point where you can't satirize anything, really. I mean, it already feels that way these days with politics and stuff, but with those movies, it's like, I don't know, once there's like a tornado of sharks spinning around, I don't know how Saturday Night Live exists anymore, but the big logistical thing, you broke my brain with this question, because the big logistical thing I'm trying to figure out is,
this is the big deep question.
Do I move away from the Midwest, or do I stay right here?
Just don't go under an underpass.
You got to go to Canada, right? Because you can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere with hurricanes or water, but then you also can't. I don't know what happens. I've never seen those movies. Are they by water?
Yeah.
And
doesn't it start in California? I forget now. It's been so long, but
yeah. The first one does, and then I think 2 is in New York.
Well, and I think in the fourth one they go to space. Like, you can't even go to space at this point, you know?
You gotta avoid space because tornadoes somehow happen where there's no air, or there's air, but there's no. It's in a vacuum. How would you? Anyway, I think you go to Canada.
Aren't there 4 of those at this point? I know the third one's called,
I think there's 5.
Oh Hell No, and then I don't remember what 4 and 5 were.
No, it's The Force Awakens, and then I think 5 is just like the last one.
Oh, that's right. They called it the last one.
Wow, you're behind on your commentaries on those, Cap. You got to catch up.
Yeah, and I've only ever watched those while talking over them.
I think that's the way to do those movies.
I think so too. We might bring those back. I don't know if that's an After Dark thing or if we should just keep it on the channel to be consistent. But Austin, how do you fall on those? Because I know you're a big fan of bad movies, but are you in the camp of when it's intentionally that bad, it's no fun? Like, where do you land on that, or do you actually like those?
Well, I've only seen the first 2, and I like them well enough. But I do agree that if it's bad intentionally, it's less funny. But I don't know. I enjoyed those well enough.
I thought they had a lot of fun in that second one, just making fun of celebrity cameos.
Yeah. Oh, Biz Marquis in 2? Like, heck yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed that movie a lot. I thought it was really funny.
I remember
6?
liking 2 more.
Div and Connor say there's 6. 6 is the last one, so
we
missed one in there. Even you can't keep track of all the Sharknadoes.
You'd think it'd be an easy thing to keep track of. 5590ERS favorite version of Catwoman.
Halle Berry.
Why don't you just say the obvious? See, you're just a walking Sharknado.
He didn't say Selena Kyle. He just said Catwoman, so she counts.
Yeah. Mine is still definitively, and make fun of me if you want to, I don't care, Julie Newmar from the 60s show. I still say that she absolutely could have played a Catwoman in a serious thing, and I don't even want to say that she wasn't playing a serious Catwoman until they started writing her more absurd, goofy things to do and say in later episodes. When she's there in the first place, she is outright menacing, and she pulls off the seductress thing so well. I think she is probably the scariest villain in that show. Or certainly way up there. And if you take her out of the context of the campiness of that show, and she's also, I would argue, the reason that Catwoman got as popular as she did. Like that's why every actress in Hollywood wanted to play that character. That's why catsuits got popular, just in general as a thing. Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to Newmar. And interestingly, you know, we had 3 Catwomen, and they were all popular for different reasons. But in that show, I mean, but yeah, she is still to me the definitive version of that character. And I guess I've given that away now. When we eventually do a Batmosphere doing definitive Catwoman, I'll have to say Julie Newmar. Hopefully I don't change my mind by that point, but I kind of doubt that I will. But I guess I'm just saying, like actress wise, and but even I don't know, even just the take on that character. I think that is my favorite. I think you could transplant that in a lot of different versions, and it still works. But what about you guys?
I don't know if I have a definitive one, to be honest, just off the top of my head. But
Yeah,
hopefully we get Pfeiffer back for the Flash movie, so maybe she'll become the definitive one.
Specifically the Flash movie version of Pfeiffer, not the Returns one?
Because there's that rumor the other day that we're getting DeVito back.
I know, it's amazing.
Well, DJ, don't mix it up with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the thing that has actors coming back and playing old characters, but not those versions in a thing that is apparently about a multiverse. DC is not doing that. If Pfeiffer is there, you better believe it would be the Returns version, because Keaton is playing the '89 version of Batman.
Well, hopefully they bring back Walken then. Just do a Batman Returns crossover. Don't even mention '89.
You just want a Batman
Returns,
or the fact that half those characters died in that movie. Like, don't talk about that either.
Yeah, well, DeVito would survive. Dorito's scrappy. Dorito? I just called him Dorito.
They'll just keep puking black sludge.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he needs to do, and he's back on his feet. I mean, the man is like 70 years old. Actually is 70 years old. He's just hanging out with the Always Sunny crew, shooting 10 episodes every year, so he's doing fine.
You know, let me address this real quick. Ryguy 1988, because I've been seeing, and welcome, because I've not seen your name before. I've seen this posted in some places this week, and I gotta say, I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. He says, now all we need to do is bring Burton back. A lot of people are saying, like, we need a Tim Burton Batman movie after the Flash movie to do something cool with Keaton, and I'm like, when was the last time Burton made a decent movie, guys? Like, I don't trust that for a minute. He's lost his touch, man. I'm sorry to say. I mean, I hate that, but like, I don't think decades later is the time to bring him back. And I also wouldn't have wanted that even after Returns, because I don't like his take on Batman ultimately. And this is coming from a huge '89 fan, but he has a lot to do with the reasons that '89 itself is as nonsensical as it is, particularly by the third act. Why it's not as about as many things as it used to be. And I don't know. You go back to the original Sam Hamm script, and it's like, wow, there's a really good movie here, and '89 is a really entertaining, cool-looking movie that has some really great one-liners and stuff, but it's not a great story, and neither is Returns. And so, I guess if Burton were to come back and make one, I would have to resign myself to looking at it as a piece of still art and review it on that basis, because the man doesn't tell stories, or at least he's not interested. He was never interested in that with Batman, and then recently he's not made good movies. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't want to see that personally.
No, and I don't think he would do it either. I mean, I could be wrong.
I don't think he's interested.
I would be very surprised if he did. Yeah. Also,
the real question is if what's that?
I apologize. I didn't mean to talk over you, but it just occurs to me that I think if Burton got that phone call, he would say, "Well, like we're not getting any younger. If I get to work with Keaton again, I'm making my my Beetlejuice sequel first, right? Like I wouldn't think he would even agree to do Batman until he got to make the Beetlejuice movie, because that's been in creative hell for years now, if not decades."
Which is weird because he just worked with Keaton. I was gonna say I've seen his last two
Oh,
films.
because Keaton was in Dumbo. Okay, well, never mind. He has worked with him since, so yeah. Never mind. Maybe he would do that.
And then his film before that was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and both of those were terrible, really bad.
Yeah, somebody mentioned Sweeney Todd being maybe his last good movie. I did like that.
That's 2007, yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Years. I actually just saw that for the first year this Halloween.
It's excellent.
John Ty, here we go. Does it suck that your opinion can't be yours anymore?
Sure does, I'm sorry to say. I don't want to sound negative, but yes. Sorry.
It certainly does suck.
This is one of those nights. We got to be careful with commas this evening. Just don't take a pause anywhere, DJ. Sorry. Go ahead.
Does it suck that your opinion can't be yours anymore because of the amount of opinions on social media?
It sure can. My opinion can be mine, though. It feels that way sometimes, certainly. But I love these kind of leading questions where it's like, doesn't it suck that this thing? Well, I have to agree with the premise of the question in the first place. No, my opinion is certainly my own. It feels very often like certain groups of people or certain individuals don't want to try to not let you have your opinion if it doesn't line up with theirs. This kind of, anti-critical thinking thing that we have going on these days, which is really sad, and I blame social media for a lot of that. So I totally see why you feel that way sometimes, but I think you just have to stick your ground and speak your mind, and if somebody won't give you the benefit of the doubt and listen to what you're actually saying rather than what they decide to read into it based on certain words you are using that they don't like, or just things that they're projecting and stuff, that's ultimately on them. And just because more of that ends up happening doesn't mean we should let that dictate what we do and take over. Yeah, that's my answer to that. Let's move on, shall we?
5590 ERS.
Hey, man.
Cap, do you prefer supernatural or cosmic superheroes?
Ooh, I really thought you were going to say some other TV show I've never seen.
Yeah, that's where I thought you were going.
Do you prefer supernatural or Warehouse 13?
Generally speaking, cosmic, but it's very much a case-by-case basis. There's a lot of stuff I love in both. And as big of a science fiction fan as I am, I at one time used to say I didn't really care for cosmic comics all that much. Certain characters that come from that world that I liked, but only if they were into in somewhat more down-to-earth stories. I've lightened up on that a lot. And I think it's because the more cosmic you get in comics, the closer it borders on fantasy. So you get into a science fantasy place before you're in a science fiction place, and I've always been a lot more interested in science fiction. I've lightened up a lot on that, and I think some of that is, frankly, watching any Doctor Who at all, I think helped me out a lot in appreciating science fantasy, because that's really loose science fiction, but still is very idea-driven. And once I realized that you could have, what-if statements and really idea-driven things in a science fantasy thing where the technology borders on magic, that was the door that was kind of open for me. So generally speaking, more cosmic stuff, but like Silver Surfer and that kind of thing. But I have come to appreciate Constantine in a way I never used to, and stuff like that. So yeah, so I can like supernatural stuff as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm like right in the middle, I feel like, because there's a bunch of stuff on like both sides that I really love. I feel like ultimately probably supernatural, just because I'm more of a horror guy in general.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't
stuff on both sides that I love.
I think I'm right in the middle. I think because I'm such a standard Marvel guy that I'm mostly like grounded sci-fi superheroes, and I haven't really delved into supernatural or cosmic at all. So I don't even know if I could answer that.
Interesting. I should also say that one of the things that busted that door open for me for supernatural stuff was, like we mentioned earlier, also Buffy and Angel. That was a big thing for me in my early 20s, because I never used to care about that kind of horror stuff and vampires and vampire mythology, and all of a sudden it just fascinated me after I started watching that.
Cool. Yes, and Austin's following right in your footsteps.
Except he was already into that kind of stuff, so he didn't have any excuse to not watch it in the first place.
Yeah, well, it wasn't streaming anywhere, so that's my defense.
Canada is his excuse.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's hard to stream things when you live in space. Also, you have to say cosmic. You deal with it all the time. You live in space.
Well, if anything, I should not like cosmic, because I want escapist fiction.
Yeah.
You know how many times somebody knocks at the door and I'm like, oh, it's the Skrulls again.
What do they want?
Witnesses. I just want them to leave.
Man, if I had a nickel for every time Austin complained that every person he knows talks in a real heightened Shakespearean kind of way.
Yeah,
because that's annoying. All of Cosmic Marvel. It's like, man, those darn Shi'ar, they just show up and they start talking like they're better than everybody.
Exactly, it's ridiculous.
All right, we got another one from Hawk Flame, another big one, another $10 one here.
Oh, thanks, Hawk Flame. It's good to see you, buddy. It's been a while.
At what point, if any, does a creator cede control of their character or franchise to the public consciousness? Or can a creator do what they want with a character regardless of public opinion?
Yeah, I mean, that's really sticky. So I feel like the answer is if you're doing the job right, you're keeping your ears open and taking good ideas and recognizing good ideas when you hear them. So a character that you own is absolutely yours, no matter how popular it gets, but it is in a different way. These are almost different things in my mind, where it's like, yes, you own the character, and also simultaneously, yes, the culture owns the character. Those two worlds don't have to meet. You see what I'm saying? Like, the character or the property, whatever it is we're talking about, the world that you've created can infect the public consciousness. People can take it and use it in whatever way they see fit. That does not, and I don't mean in like a anti-copyright kind of way. I just mean to influence them and to enjoy in whatever way that they want to. And but that doesn't mean that they get to dictate to you what you do with that character. At the same time, you might be missing opportunities if you never listen to the culture, and if you don't let it, and if you don't let that also influence you and have kind of a somewhat symbiotic relationship. But I don't think there is some kind of responsibility that you have to like tweak things, change things because a thing is popular now, but there are these things people don't like about it, so you better go with the masses and change it, because that's watering a thing down. That's compromising in a way that I don't think you should have to. But I have just for my own my own part, a couple big projects that I've done that people were looking at, things like Spawn Year. I have kind of let myself get influenced by other people, which was always a good idea, because if I'd made that whole show and then put it out before anybody saw it, it wouldn't be as good as it was. And I think a lot of people, a lot of creators feel that way about stuff. I think that's also, I'll tack this on, that it kind of, there's a good thing and a bad thing about putting out serialized fiction, where if you're putting out a thing that's not done yet and people are looking at it in parts as it's coming out, people might throw something at you that you wouldn't have thought of before that you can integrate and make the thing better, or they might notice something that is a problem at the moment that you can tweak and fix, and you don't get that if you put a novel out. So I think it's a good idea to listen to people and just to be as unemotional and detached as possible, so that you can look at it as objectively as you can and go, yeah, no, they're right right about that. Or, no, with respect, 90% of people are saying this, but I'm not with them, and that would hurt the integrity of my property.
Yeah. I mean, my first go-to was like the George Lucas thing where you like retroactively change things later.
Yeah.
It was more so where my mind went, yeah.
Cool. Great question, Hawkflame. Tyler Thompson, will we ever get Lord of the Rings commentaries?
Real quick, Dagan Spear says you don't want to go full Arrow. Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Never go full
I
Arrow.
wish that whole show had been made before anybody got to see it. Because the other thing that'll happen is, I was talking mostly about listening to criticism, I guess, but you also can have problems if you listen too much to praise, of course, where it becomes really fan servicey, and you're so concerned about giving the people what they want that you're not really telling stories or letting your characters drive the narrative anymore. You can also just drink your own Kool-Aid, and the thing can be too much about its own popularity. And that's a problem.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that whole CW universe went full Arrow.
Yep. We have, in full, in my mind, season 9 Smallville. So we have talked about doing Lord of the Rings commentaries. That's one of the few like huge franchises that we've never done anything with, and I just don't have anything to say about it. I feel like I would have to sit down and really like work at it and do some research and learn it before I got into that, or it would be just me bringing on somebody like DJ who knows that stuff and is into that stuff, and might just kind of letting him do a lot of the talking and making like really broad and slight observations about basic storytelling stuff, because I'm not into that stuff and not into that world. So, and I haven't seen those movies in probably 12 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only way that
and then every now and then you can be like, this music's nice.
I was
this
gonna
CG
say
doesn't hold up the best.
I was gonna say
I remember this guy. He was on Lost.
That's true. I was gonna say the only way that's ever gonna happen is if like we finally have a commentary that Cap's not in, and just me and Austin do it. Because I just found out that Austin's a huge Tolkien fan too. But yeah, I don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
Tyler Thompson said, I'm a little bit concerned that I would fall asleep during a commentary for the first time ever.
That would be the best.
I don't dislike those movies. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They're very long, and they're very slow paced, and it's not my thing in the first place. Although I have been curious to revisit them, because I think I might enjoy that more these days than I did back in the day. But I would need prep time if I was going to actually do a commentary on them. Tyler Thompson says, I want to see DJ walk Cap through Lord of the Rings. And then while I was talking, he said, yeah, that's what I want, please. So he doesn't want me to actually spend any time learning more about that. He wants me to just sit down and let DJ go, okay, this is why you're supposed to like these.
Oh, you're like building me up, man. I'm not like a huge expert or anything, but I just like them.
Compare it to me.
It'll be first Cap can't watch.
I almost think more folks would watch it if we called it that. That is really funny. I'm not against it. I mean, we'll certainly consider it. I don't know that exactly. I'm just saying I'm not totally against ever doing commentaries on those. Guys, there's a lot of genres and a lot of different movies, and I don't necessarily have any insights on everything. And I'm not even going to say that everything I've done a commentary on I had any insights either. Let's go ahead and get some more questions, DJ.
Yeah. Valchuim. Thanks for the $5 super chat. With Abomination confirmed to be in She-Hulk, any chance we finally get the leader? If so, what would you want them to do with him?
Gee, I hope so. Yeah, we've talked about this before, and welcome to the show, because I haven't seen your handle before. I just want him to be played by that same actor from Incredible Hulk. That's all I want. I haven't read a lot of leader stories. I don't have a great pitch or anything like what exactly you would do with them, but I would certainly like to see that, and have always wanted to. What are your thoughts, Austin?
Yeah, I could definitely see them doing it. I also, because I'm not like a huge Hulk fan, so I don't really have a pitch for it, but I could definitely see them doing it. And I'd also want Tim Blake Nelson to come back. since he kind of got screwed over both times. He tried to play a comic book villain with that and
Oh
Mole Man.
man, yeah.
Oh man, yeah,
He
good
he was
call.
just leading up to it both times. Like he was like, all right, you got to do this one first, and then you're gonna get your movie, and then both times.
Well, I
Ugh.
thought that with Fantastic, and then his head explodes, and I was like, I guess because he's not gonna be Mole Man.
Which is so
Poor guy.
ironic, because he gets a big giant head, and it looks like his head's going to explode in Incredible Hulk, but then it doesn't, because they're leading him to the leader, and then he doesn't get to be the leader, and then he's in another movie as a different character, and his head explodes.
Maybe his head will explode in She-Hulk. We'll
I
just flash back
completely
to that.
forgot that his head exploded in that movie. That's really funny. Blue Dragon 5, if the leader's ever going to show up, it'll be She-Hulk. I mean, I feel like they're going to want villains in in those shows that somebody has heard of. And if you've got some kind of like second tier or villains that you could even call bigger characters in comics, but that general audiences don't really know, that you're probably never going to use in the movies, they're going to put them in those shows. And I think a lot of folks were kind of surprised that we didn't get the leader in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I
And-
remember that was rumored for a while.
And
with
then
the
after a
Claire
while, we
Point.
realized they weren't going to do anybody you've heard of in that show. Hardly. We got some C-list characters, and then it went to like F and G-list characters.
Yeah, then you run the rest. You have the Supergirl problem where they're using all of Superman's villains for. But in this case, it's fine because I don't think we're ever going to get a Hulk movie. So you got
Well,
to
I
get
think
him
that's probably
somewhere.
why it's likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would
Also,
say that.
She-Hulk will be more than one season.
Did you say it will be, or you're just hoping it will?
I said I think it will be. Personally.
Oh, okay.
I
but we
would
don't
figure.
actually know.
It's hard to tell with those.
I would figure those. They're probably keeping their feelers out to see how well they do, and that's why they're not immediately saying what the plan is. Because again, I'm hoping that they've learned their lesson from the Marvel shows and the Netflix shows, and it seems like they have some, where they're probably thinking, okay, we're going to pitch them this miniseries. If they're really successful, we might consider making another season, but we're not going to... And if I were them, I also, by the way, wouldn't call anything Season 2. I would give them monikers, like movies. I would have each season have a different name, so that you're not immediately... like telegraphing, we're planning on doing 1 million of these. As soon as you give something a season number, people go, oh, we need, like, your show could go for 8 seasons, and if there are fans of it, you're still going to get a Save This Show campaign, no matter what it is. Because as soon as you put numbers on it, people that like it think it's supposed to go on forever. Nothing's supposed to get an ending unless it's like Breaking Bad or something. And so... I think there's every possibility that what they're thinking right now is superheroes that they're giving TV shows to instead of movies. They might want to give more seasons to if they're popular. Mandalorian with Star Wars, they did tell us there was going to be another season right away, but that was already the plan. They didn't wait around to see if it was popular. They were already halfway through writing that second season or totally done with it before the first season even dropped. So that's kind of a different case than what it seems like they're doing with these. But like Moon Knight,
Well, we have that with
probably
Loki.
more seasons if that first season does well.
Yeah, we have that with Loki. Loki already, they confirmed, has a second season,
That I didn't
which is
know.
weird.
Weird.
Weird, yeah. I would have assumed that would be a miniseries. But I don't know, I personally feel like the new characters like Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel are probably like almost guaranteed to get more seasons.
And again, those are the ones that should, because you could see those having movie franchises in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like the next generation.
Yeah,
No,
like WandaVision, I doubt will be like a 7-season show.
no.
With that title and that premise, that very kitschy, limited premise, it would be very strange to do any more of that.
Yeah.
And that would be a thing where if you want to do more things with those characters, you name the show something else.
Yeah, Wanda and Vision subtitle, like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or give it a team name where they're like the leaders of a team or something.
Spedevescu. I'm going to keep trying to say this new guy's name, but he's back again with another $5 super chat. Thanks,
Hi
man.
there.
How would the world be? This is great. How would the world be different if TMNT's food was burritos instead of pizza?
I love that question. That's such a good question. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know that it would affect the overall popularity of pizza that hard, because Pizza was
already
just by itself getting really, really popular in the mid '80s. Not that people weren't eating it before that, but that's when it really hit its peak. I mean, like I think pizza happens in Turtles because pizza's huge. Like if burritos were there, then that's what they would have used in Ninja Turtles, obviously. But man, that's such a fun question. I don't know. Do you guys have immediately a clever response?
Well, when you started that, I was really hoping you were going to say that it doesn't immediately affect the overall plot, but so I'm a little sad it didn't go that way. But
they would have to put
the turtles.
Yeah, like is he shoving burritos down to Donatello, Michelangelo in the sewers?
Yeah, you wouldn't have the whole delivery thing. It would be. Pizza's just more practical because it feeds a whole family, right? So, like, you order one, and it feeds, if it's burritos, like, we gotta go get burritos. I mean, it's kind of, it makes more sense for a family like that to get a pizza, and then you wouldn't have the whole silly toppings thing and all of that. Like, I think it's just a better visual immediately for a cartoon show, and that's why it kind of makes more sense than burritos, but that's not the question. Like, what would have happened if it was I guess the other question is, would that have affected the popularity of Turtles? Like, if they had picked burritos instead of pizza, does all the other iconography and one-liners that stick around, and your cowabunga and your everything, keep that show going 10 seasons? Like, is it possible that taking pizza out of Ninja Turtles makes Ninja Turtles less popular?
Oh, man.
Because I think it's possible. I don't know. I mean, pizza obviously is not a huge component of the original Mirage comics, and in comics, that was getting relatively huge for an indie underground thing. Obviously without that, because it was popular for different reasons. But as far as the masses go, like, do you have the giant mega franchise for Ninja Turtles if you take pizza out of it?
Well, and if it's burritos, do we just kind of drop that, like the chili dog Sonic thing?
I don't. At the very least, you're absolutely right.
It wouldn't stick around.
And I was about to get to that. At the very least, it wouldn't stick around. We wouldn't still be talking about that component of it, because chili dogs, like you said, not really a Sonic thing anymore, and that was such a '90s thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
does
Deadpool not go with chimichangas because the Turtles have burritos?
Had that
Deadpool
thought. I think certainly he wouldn't.
Pizza.
He would go with something else random.
Deadpool goes with pizza. We don't have any big superhero that does a pizza thing until we get to Deadpool.
And then Deadpool becomes the ultimate child franchise.
Oh my gosh. No, did you not listen to Cap's rant on Tuesday? You were here. You were live
full
with
circle.
Also, I'm gonna read into the pizza thing way too much now because it's fun. So burritos. I don't even know how you'd get to burritos with Ninja Turtles. And like I said, pizza I think is partly there just because it's as popular as it is right then, and this is probably a happy accident. But pizzas also can be easily divided into 4, and you've got 4 Ninja Turtles. Like, it's just too natural of a thing to do.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
they're
like,
all named after like Italian people, and it's like an Italian American.
I don't even know if that's why they did that though.
I don't know.
But that I never had that thought.
Are they named after Aztecs if they have burritos?
Well, there's Mexican burrito.
Yeah. I was gonna say, or like famous Mexican writers or something. Like,
Yeah.
It's
like,
all
would the cartoon show.
Pizza is foundational.
Yeah. If the cartoon show decided to do, I can't believe we're still talking about this. If the cartoon show decided to do burritos instead of pizza, does it immediately go with more of like a Mexican motif and separate itself even a lot more away from what the comics were?
Michelangelo's a fiesta, dude. He throws a burrito at the screen and it just splats. Falls
They
down.
all have sombreros.
I was gonna say, you just do all these stereotypes. He's got a sombrero, and like he's the party dude, and he's like swinging at a pinata. Yeah,
It's got a pinata. Oh, it's a rat, and Splinter's all offended. Anyway, now
it's
that
a pinata of a rat. All right, I'm really ready. I could have ended this 3 minutes ago, and then we would not be in this place. Go right ahead.
All right. Man. And then again, another one from Sped of SQ. Have you heard of Michael B. Jordan directing
Yes,
Creed?
I have heard of Michael B. Jordan. He's been in some of my favorite films, including Creed and Chronicle. I'm sorry.
So he said, did you hear that Michael B. Jordan is directing Creed 3?
Yes.
And what story would you like him to tell? And should Rocky die?
Yes, that's the main thing, is you have to kill Rocky off in the next one.
Well, they'll just follow like the trend, and Rocky will just die in between movies.
Man, I hope they don't do that.
No, I hope they go full Rocky 3 and like Creed fights a wrestler, and Rocky's just so embarrassed that it kills him, like Mickey.
I thought you were gonna say.
I'm catching up. I thought you were going with 4, and then you just hard left turn to 3 again.
I thought you were gonna say Rocky decides that at his age he's going to fight someone who's definitely going to kill him.
Yeah, I thought you were going to
That would be
4.
good, too.
I thought you were going to 4, and then you went to 3.
That's where I thought you were going.
No, my favorite death is 3 with Mickey, where Rocky fights Hulk Hogan, and Mickey's just so embarrassed that it kills him.
You know, those are movies that I still haven't done commentaries for and have always meant to.
wow.
Really good character
Great.
studies, some of those, and I love them. And then what's great about the Rocky franchise is there's not one of those movies that wouldn't be fun to do for different reasons, with the possible exception of Rocky Balboa. But like, I don't hate that movie. It's just not.
Oh, I thought you were
great.
gonna say Rocky 5.
No, that's still going to be fun to. That's what I'm
That
saying
was
is
fun.
that movie's still fun to do a commentary on. Obviously, got crazy street fighting Rocky at the end. It's insane. No, that would be fun.
That's
It's not
wonderful,
good,
yeah.
but it would be enjoyable. But there is only one. There are like bad, insane Rocky movies and brilliant Rocky movies and one mediocre Rocky movie, in my opinion. And that's Rocky Balboa. And some people say 2 is not great and is just a total rehash of the first movie. I've never seen it that way, but
Oh no, I like 1 and 2. Those are my favorite ones.
3 is
Creed
my
and the first
favorite because it's crazy, and I love it.
yeah, and 3 is weird. That's that inappropriately. It's that middle of the road movie where it's both crazy and still a decent story all at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, yeah. 4 is the one that's like absolutely insane.
Rocky has that decades later sequel problem of just like shoving in iconography for the sake of fan service. And that hurts it a little bit, where it's like, why is he still wearing that jacket? Like, it has that thing where it's trying to, in a weird way, kind of be like a remake of the first movie while simultaneously being a sequel, and it's not great.
Yeah, it's that soft reboot thing, yeah.
Yeah, the one thing, but like, it does it better than some of those. But then I hold it to a higher standard, partly because it's Rocky, and partly because the Creed movies are so much better at that, where they do that, but like really, really well. But
you must love in Rocky Balboa that Weird Al predicted that Rocky would work at like a deli/restaurant.
It's my favorite thing, and I've always wanted to make a music video to that song out of exclusively Rocky Balboa footage. I was gonna say the one great thing that movie gave us was the idea of Rocky owning his own restaurant, because I just think that's really classy. As funny as it is that Weird Al predicted that, it is really cool. It is really classy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like 5 is probably my weakest one, even though I like it. Like, I like all the Rocky movies.
Oh, well, people are disagreeing with me about Rocky Balboa. Surprising.
No, I like Rocky Balboa a lot.
Hot
Yeah, I
Flame
like
says
Rocky Balboa.
it's the best Rocky film since the first one. Man, I've always been disappointed with it. It
That's
never
what
it never
to be
fully
honest,
worked for
that's
me.
my second favorite.
Ooh, is it really? Man, if we ever talk about it, I can change your mind on that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Rocky, Balboa, and Creed are my 3 favorites. But I saw Balboa before I saw Creed.
Yeah.
Man, how long has it been since you guys revisited it, though?
It was before
How
Creed
long
came out.
ago, yeah.
Okay.
Probably before Creed, yeah.
It was when Creed came out. I think I haven't seen. I've only seen all the Rocky movies once, except for 5, which I've never
I'm
seen.
very critical of that. Ryguy1988 says commentary for UHF. So, funny story about that. I recorded one and forgot to post it.
Oh,
Yeah, Jeff and I made a comment. So, and I'll tell you why I never posted it. So, Jeff and I, the Jeff, Pixar discussions, and Tick videos and other things that I've done with Jeff. He's my stepdad. He and I did a commentary because he and I are both huge Weird Al fans. We actually have a Weird Al video on the channel where we ranked our favorite non-parody Weird Al songs, and And that was the video where we discovered that he and I have the same favorite top 3 alternative groups, and in the same order, where it's They Might Be Giants, Weird Al Yankovic, and REM, like in exactly that order.
I remember that video, yeah.
But anyway, we did a commentary for UHF, and we did it 2 years ago now, 2019, during what was the anniversary, because that came out in '89, and a big anniversary year, 2019. And in that commentary, we say it would be really cool if somebody would put this out in the theater for the anniversary, like they're doing with all these other things, but of course that would never happen. And then 2 months later, we found ourselves sitting in a theater watching that movie, and that's part of the reason I haven't posted it, because it's just it was immediately outdated. Like, I hadn't gotten around to posting it yet, and then that happened, and then I was like, now I don't know, because we did get to see it, and so maybe I'll re-record it at some point, or maybe I'll just post it with a disclaimer. I don't know. I still got the audio file, but yeah, I never posted it.
Wow. Well, there you go, guys. Ask for things, and maybe it's already been done, and he just hasn't posted it yet, and you'll get it what you want.
It's possible. It could be years old.
And if there's anything you can learn from our commentaries, it's that they never go out of date. Not immediately after they're posted or anything.
We'll just wait till you'll have like 5 or so Jeff videos, and you'll post it for a week.
And then I'll pretend like it was the plan the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that'll just become the new format going forward.
Mm-hmm. I thought about doing like a theme week format for the channel. I've had that thought before, but the live shows kind of make that harder. DJ, how many super chats are we looking at, man? We just went over about an hour and a half here on the show.
I'm seeing 2.
Yes, turning into a waiting for WandaVision.
Oh, yeah. 2.
Oh, that's true. It kind of is, yeah. It might.
Oh, is it tomorrow?
Yeah, that comes out tomorrow.
Wow.
I'm very excited. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it with my family tomorrow evening, and like I said, I will try to shoot something on it over the weekend.
Yeah, and I'm gonna watch it tonight, and then probably end up watching it with my mom tomorrow.
I assume I'll have thoughts. If I don't have thoughts, I won't make anything. I assume I'll have thoughts.
It's going 1 episode at a time, right? I'm assuming.
2 will drop tomorrow initially, and then after that, 1 at a time until they're at 8. So it'll be 5 weeks in total.
Okay.
Cool. I'm assuming it's that there's a week in between the ending of this and Falcon Winter Soldier.
I hope so.
That'd be crazy.
I mean, that's if they went right into it.
A lot of people giving UHF a lot of love in the chat. So
well, maybe... and you know, that's another reason that I haven't posted that commentary is I feel like I was a little bit overly critical of it in that commentary, and I have seen it more times since then, and would probably be oddly more positive about it if I did a commentary right now. So I don't know.
Another one from Spit of Askew. Should a potential MCU Dark Phoenix saga be exclusively X-Men story, or Infinity War style Avengers movie?
I want another 20 years of an X-Men franchise before we do Dark Phoenix again.
No, Dark Phoenix should be their first movie. It should be Simon Kinberg. Give him the Dark Phoenix trilogy.
3rd time's the charm, man. He's been practicing all this time.
Exactly. Kevin Feige will stand over his shoulder while he's writing it, and he'll be like, "You can do it, buddy."
No, I think it would make sense for a threat of that magnitude to include more characters than just the X-Men. It is kind of weird. That's one of those many things, right, that makes it feel like the rest of the Marvel Universe with superheroes and the X-Men live in different worlds, except for when they just decide to combine them. I mean, something as big as Phoenix, it's like, why doesn't anybody else show up? Like, with the exception of that initial story, whenever Galactus shows up, it's like everybody's there. But you have Phoenix, and it's like, yeah, well, this is just exclusively a mutant problem, and somehow Spider-Man, Captain America, everybody else got that memo. Iron Man, nobody else is supposed to show up for this event.
My theory, or not theory, I guess, what I thought they should do is combine it with the Avengers versus X-Men story, because that deals with Phoenix, too.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And I love AVX. I would love to see that adapted.
Yeah, I like it quite a bit, too.
In fact, you could treat AVX as their Civil War, because obviously it's another superheroes fighting superheroes thing, and I'm sick of that. I don't want it all the time, but it would be cool to actually get to adapt a story that worked pretty well in the first place. Because overall, I think AVX is pretty excellent, and it's
I like that book a lot.
It's one of the most entertaining events that Marvel ever put out, and there's an interesting kind of ethical debate at the middle of that that doesn't force anybody out of character like the comic Civil War storyline did. So wouldn't it be nice to be able to adapt something like Civil War that was decent in the first place and see if it lives up to it, instead of going, well, your standards are already so low for what this could be. But if you did that, of course, we need several movies before you get there. So it should be like Civil War, where we need at least a couple of Avengers, a couple of X-Men movies, and maybe some solo spin-off things before we would get to that. But I'm with you. Yeah, if you did Phoenix, just combine it. Have it be the first time they show up. Or the first time Phoenix shows up somehow. See if you can combine those things and make it the first time. I don't immediately know how that works, but it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's always my hope.
Man, that's a great idea, man. I didn't even think of that. I'm gonna be ripping you off on that and saying that all the time now. Like, oh, what big X-Men event do you want to see in the movies? AVX. I'm done. That's it. That's what I want.
You just have to put copyrighted the Day Ghost at the end of that sentence.
I'm gonna give you zero credit for that.
You have to pay me $2 for every time you say it.
That makes perfect sense in this Marvel universe where the Avengers are like the huge thing. Like they're the universe. Well, and when you're bringing in the new universe.
And this is great too, because wouldn't it be hilarious if I just thought of this, if we do that thing that people are kind of worried that they'll do, where the X-Men show up and it's not an alternate universe thing. It's not multiverse. It's just we've actually had mutants the whole time. And out of 23 movies, we've never talked about them. Because at the heart of AVX is the question of why the Avengers didn't pay more attention to the mutants in the first place. And why they just kind of let them do their own thing. And because they were kind of out of sight and out of mind. Because and this is a really uncomfortable, of course, and in a good way, metaphor for not just racism, but for people not being able to put themselves in other people's shoes. I don't understand your plight. I'm not necessarily a bigot, but I don't get your plight because I haven't lived it, and so it's not a priority for me. And wouldn't it be really funny if you made AVX because we had movies and movies where even the audience didn't know that there were mutants and the Avengers have never dealt with them? That's hysterical to me.
Yeah, and we do like an Endgame style catch you up where like it goes and you see all these events where these mutants were there the whole time and you never saw them. They were doing things.
Maybe you could do AVX first. Maybe you just do like a recap thing for 10 minutes. It was like, here's all the X-Men things that were happening in the background that we didn't show you because it wasn't relevant to the stories we were telling. That would be so good.
It's like all the villains in the Spider-Man movies where it's like, oh yeah, this guy was except they wouldn't all. It's not like Tony Stark wrongs all the mutants.
You go through each X-Men and it's like, oh, Wolverine was there when they made like Cap Shield.
So we got 3 more. T-Edge 1. So he's talking about the pizza thing. It would make the Howard the Duck pizza joke make sense. You're the best.
No, it wouldn't, because pizza was still popular. It's not just Ninja Turtles that made it popular. So my whole qualm with Howard the Duck is everything. You got this parallel universe where everything looks like it does in our universe except it's ducks, and they make all of our movies, and they've got cigars, and they have all the same magazines and everything except everything's duck themed. But Howard the Duck doesn't know what pizza is. And I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's a huge part of American culture. How do they have everything but pizza? Why is that? It can't be because of the lack of Ninja Turtles. Moreover, that movie was made in 1986. The pizza thing with the cartoon show doesn't happen until 87.
Got you there, Tom. And
sorry,
then
sorry, Tom. No, I'm sorry. You can't fix Howard the Duck, and no one should try to fix Howard the Duck. It's perfect just the way it is.
Yeah, that's the lesson here. Nobody can fix Howard the Duck.
That's what MCU needs to be doing, is a Howard the Duck show.
They were. There was a Howard the Duck show for Hulu. Yeah.
Was
and a MODOK show.
Like, I mean, like a Disney Plus like MCU Howard the Duck show.
Well, I think but I
don't
think
know.
I think these things were all going to be still, more for adults, so it would be a little bit closer to like the What If thing,
Yeah.
where they would act like they were in that universe, but they're animated. And again, I think the MODOK thing is still happening, but I think that's the only one of those. I think everything else got thrown out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. All they have to do in this country is just make something animated, and no one will worry about it being connected, right? Because that's just how people think about things here. They're like, oh, it's immediately not as important to watch because it's animated.
And also, a whole lot fewer people will watch it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they don't even have to like make a big deal out of this is like kind of related but not really. They just have to make it animated, and people will be fine.
No, but the irony is they're a lot more likely to make it in continuity, even though it's animated, and try to force people to watch it. That's a lot more likely what will happen.
Oh man, this is Tyler Thompson. What is a movie that you think is brilliant that most people seem to hate? Mine is Alien 3. He says.
Alien 3. Yeah. Something similar to this has been coming up quite a bit lately, and I try not to go to like the same stock answers and stuff. Does anything come to you immediately, Austin? And I guess not just a movie that you like that everybody else dislikes, but something you think is brilliant that people are like, nah.
Okay, so a movie that I think is brilliant that people hate. Nothing's coming to mind. There's stuff that everybody hates that I like for like guilty pleasure reasons, but I don't know about like brilliant.
Sure, yeah. Of course, I have that with like Jurassic House and things like that.
I have that with 2019 Hellboy. I think that movie's hilarious.
Well, Cap, I'm thinking of one that we both really like. Well, two sci-fi movies: Tomorrowland that everyone hated, and Passengers, which everyone hated.
Tomorrowland is my stock answer, and I was about to mention that this came up Tuesday or last week in a slightly similar form, or in a slightly different form. Slightly similar. It was like this but different. But you're absolutely right about Passengers. I forgot about that. I still like that movie. Well, I saw it once in the theater. I've been meaning to go back to it and revisit it, because everybody disliked that, and Eric and I gave it not just a good review, but like a riveting review. Like, we really liked that movie, and I've bought it even and haven't watched it again. But yeah,
that happened with Hotel Artemis too.
Hotel Artemis is a huge one for that. Yeah, and also Eric and I liked. I mean, speaking of Alien, we liked that new Predator movie better than anybody else on the planet, and I still stand by that. I think that movie is fine. I don't know what people were talking about. I get not loving it. I don't get why. That was like an Amazing Spider-Man 2 situation, except I think that movie is still even better than that. Like, I don't get why people hated that. But to each his own. Yeah, Hotel Artemis I really don't get, though. That movie was quite good, and I still stand by that. That's a really fun movie. Watch it for Batista. Batista's great in that. And also,
I watched that yesterday, and then decided to watch the finale of Buffy instead.
Oh, tell me what you think, because I know you're gonna come back and be like, "Well, no, this is horrible. What are you talking about?"
Well, if you know that, then what's the point of coming back and saying it?
Well, because I'm hoping that I'm wrong. That's but my instincts pan out on that more often than I want them to. That's my guy. That's Sterling K. Brown.
Oh yeah,
I don't just love it because it's Brown.
And he's
but, like,
the Predator.
He's so good. Oh yeah, that's right. He's also in that. Maybe I just like things other people don't because it's got Sterling K. Brown in it, but I don't think that's true. Man, he's in
the worst death in the Predator.
He's in that's true. That's absolutely true. He's not great in that. I mean, he's fine. Sterling K. Brown's probably my top 5 actors of newer big actors in the last 10 years or so. Love that guy.
Yeah, have you watched any more of This Is Us?
No, I need to.
Because he's like the guy in that show. Like, that's who my wife always talks about is Randall in that show.
I think I dropped off it because I was trying to get my wife into it, and I was a little bit disappointed that she wasn't as enamored with the pilot as I was. And I just didn't make a priority out of sitting down and continuing to watch it myself, and I just keep forgetting about it.
Yeah, I've
I'm
never
wondering,
seen any of it, but my wife likes it.
he's in an episode of the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine that won like an Emmy, I think, and it's like a very standalone. It's just like him in an interrogation room. Sterling K. Brown.
Oh, really?
Think
Oh,
of that,
cool.
yeah.
Tyler Thompson says, "Oh God, the Predator was almost self-parody." I think the problem is that Eric got me kind of getting his obsession to a degree with Shane Black, and I think if you don't have a history with Shane Black, you're not going to appreciate that movie. And I think if I'd never seen another Shane Black film, if I didn't like Iron Man 3, I would have hated that movie, or I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much.
Yeah, I mean, I love Shane Black and Predator, but I think I like that movie probably more than anybody else, but like more in a guilty pleasure sense. But like I don't think he really gets that property. Like he takes one of the like simplest concepts and like kind of ruins it.
That's fair.
I know.
I also have this thing sometimes too where, and I'm not trying to defend myself with that. I only saw it once, so if I watched it,
coming for the attack now.
If I watched it now by myself, I have no idea. What's that?
Said I almost wore a Predator shirt for the show. I'd be attacked if I had that.
Well, and also, you're gonna have different reads and feelings on things. Sometimes depending on your already overall interest in a thing, right? So like, Predator's not a big thing for me, and so I might be less critical of a sequel. Just like this is not maybe the best example, but like somebody that's not as invested in Batman stuff might not have even noticed some of the things that drove me crazy about Dark Knight Rises, right? Like,
yeah, of course,
that kind of thing. But also, I sat right next to Eric, who was giddy through that entire film, and that can affect you as well. I try to watch most things by myself now. Like, I think even if I start going to the theater again when they if and when they start opening up more, and you have to go to the theater to see certain movies, because that used to be how we had to do things, I may start going to see everything totally by myself. I feel like I have a much purer kind of experience, first time, or when I'm reviewing it, you're getting much more of my kind of unfiltered first thoughts, because I feel like an empath when I sit next to people.
Maybe you are.
Yeah, I will say I would like to see like the original like Shane Black cut of that film, since they completely changed the third act, and his third act sounds nuts, and I really want to see that.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember what exactly is in it, but I remember reading about that at the time, where it was like, oh, that was very compromised and it totally changed, and they were trying to be safer.
Well, yeah, the ending of that movie was they like meet some good predators, and then they team up to fight a bunch of like hybrid predators. So there'd be like a spider one and stuff like that. It's just like all these like abomination predators.
But the problem with not doing that is, doesn't it feel like the movie you saw was all building to that? Like, that's what that climax was supposed to be.
Yeah, well, and even you get stuff like the ending. Like, they had no idea what. Like, you should get that Iron Man suit at the end, and they had no idea what was supposed to be there.
Yeah, remember that?
Like, they filmed scenes where Ripley comes out of the pod that they open, which makes no sense.
What?
Yeah.
Dun dun dun!
You can see they have pictures online. There was one where it was a adult Newt that comes out, and both Ripley and Newt have face masks that look like the face hugger. It's real weird.
That's insane.
So I have to say something that's also insane. But first, I have another movie that you and I like that everybody hates: Cars. Me and you love Cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cars is great. I don't know what people are talking about with Cars.
We're gonna do that commentary one of these days.
We should.
We can
talk.
And Austin, you're not invited. We're gonna do the Cars Love Fest commentary. No, I don't usually do that. I don't usually invite people based on their like or dislike of a thing. But I feel like it might be fun for DJ and I to just gush over Cars to drive people crazy.
As long as it's not Cars 2, then
no.
Cars 2 is terrible.
Really die.
But we might. Yeah, DJ, we could do that, and we could bring Jeff in on that too, maybe, because he also loves that movie.
It's a great movie. I don't know what happened, man. The sequels and maybe the average or like the over marketization of the toys like really turned people soured on that whole thing.
That absolutely happened, but I heard from lots of people when it came out that it was really lukewarm. Nobody that I talked to just hated it. Like, that didn't seem to be the climate. But it was the first Pixar movie since Bug's Life where people were kind of indifferent.
Yeah, well, and I don't hate the first Cars. I just don't really like it. Like, I hate Cars 2, but Cars 1 is just like a movie I'm just kind of whatever on. Although, like, my youngest brother really loved that movie, so I've also seen it like 100 times.
Yeah.
So I'm probably closer to hating it at this point.
See, that's what I have. My brother watched that movie like every single day, my youngest brother, and that's I think contributed to why I like it more than I don't know, I had the exact opposite.
Oh, interesting.
See, Austin,
yeah.
that's why I have a complete detachment now from Finding Nemo, because
Oh, I thought you were going to say from family.
we watched
but
that
yeah,
too many
that's
times. Sure, yeah, that too. Mm-hmm. It's
that
Pixar's
with
fault
people.
that I'm detached from family.
All right, and now I have to tell you what in the world happened earlier.
Carmen Sandiego.
We had another censoring in the chat. Real big one this time. Blue Dragon 5 said Cap is Mantis, and it
And
blocked.
that got censored? They're censored?
It blocked it. I had to approve it before it came up. I
Look-
don't know what.
Look, you can't use
Mantis?
helping verbs anymore, okay?
Why is Mantis? It has to be Mantis. I don't understand why that's blocked.
Mantis. What if you write Zorak? Can you do that? Can you say names of mantises?
I don't know.
Can you
It's
say
so
names
weird.
of
What if you're like
mantises?
listing the Guardians, like
I blame Space
Like-
Ghost.
in the antenna one? It's ridiculous.
Speaking of A Bug's Life, maybe it's the Mantis in A Bug's Life. He was kind of like a racial stereotype of Asian guy.
I
was
was
his
offended. I was offended for mantises everywhere.
It didn't block Mantis from Noah. It just blocked Cap is Mantis.
Oh, you can't
So
say my
I'm-
name anymore. That's unfortunate.
You can't call someone a Mantis. That's super
It's just
offensive.
those three words combined. Make
Well, you
Captain
definitely
Planet.
can't say Black Mantis. Noah, that definitely got blocked.
Oh well, yeah, but that. Oh, and Dagos wrote Cap is Mantis again. So it's consistently doing it.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Wait,
man.
did it also block mine?
Yeah,
blocked it.
it
So
did.
weird.
So, hey, I have a question for you, real quick, DJ.
Sure thing.
About 5 minutes away from 2 hours, so we'll have to wrap up here in a minute. But
Just
we're
got two
not
quick
a
ones
minute.
left.
Say it again.
Just got two really quick ones left.
Did you get the first super chat of the night though? Because I feel like we never actually tackled that.
Ooh, was it before I? Yeah, the first one I got was the one about the Cobra Kai pitch for Back to the Future. So
No,
it might
there's
have been
one. There's one even before that.
Yeah, it might have been before I started.
It's that first
The chat.
J Meister 25 super chat. And nice of that guy to keep leaving super chats because we didn't even answer his first one. I scrolled back up and just noticed it. A multiverse / timeverse story focus going forward for the MCU. It makes sense to bring these actors back. I will argue this doesn't devalue their death. And we did talk about whether or not that would devalue specifically Captain America's death. But I just want to make sure that we read it because I just realized that we never actually did. But we basically tackled that subject.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah. Some people have been complaining about that with Black Widow, even though it's a prequel. That it's like,
my
okay,
mom
she
hates that.
had a great death, just let her be. But then at the same time with that one, it's like, well, she always was supposed to get a movie and she never did. So it's kind of like a bittersweet type thing. Especially if her movie is just setting up the next Black Widow, which
I assume is what it is. Yeah.
that's what I'm assuming
Just
too.
like
but-
the Hawkeye show seems to be just setting up the next
Yeah.
Hawkeye, yeah.
But you can do good passing the torch movies, so hopefully they do it well.
Yeah, it's just weird to do it in retrospect after a character died already, right after a movie where that would have been the best place to have actually done her movie in the first place without setting up another Black Widow.
Yeah. Sorry.
I
Mark.
hope they just retroactively CGI the new Black Widow into the Endgame. They just put her in the fight.
Yeah, because where the heck was she? She must have been busy with that Dark Phoenix movie.
Or they'll do a reshoot where Wong's like, "You wanted more," and Doctor Strange is like, "Yeah, where's the new Black Widow?"
I ordered a new one. So then we got one from Tom. saying that's why I won't be making the Tuesday show. This Is Us is back.
Yeah, thanks
on.
for the super chat, Tom. We understand you have TV shows that you like to watch more than you like to watch the show. He's brought that up before. That's fine, Tom. Nobody minds, buddy.
We don't blame you. It's okay. Just keep telling us about it, and we accept the donation for the channel. 5590 ERS, the last super chat of the evening. Could The Dark Knight have been made in the 90s?
Exactly, specifically
No.
that movie, no. Partly because of like contemporary social climate things it was tackling. That movie is a very post 9/11 thing. It's responding to some kind of terrorist fears. Like urban terrorist fears and things like that. It's responding to wiretapping. There's a lot of like modern issues from right then that it was dealing with, but also superhero movies, even the darker ones that we got in the 90s, were generally safer than that movie. And you certainly couldn't have put one out at 2.5 hours.
Yeah, well, they'd replace the social commentary. So instead of wiretapping to beat the Joker, Batman would have to say that he did not have sexual relations with a woman to beat the Joker.
It's not After Dark, Austin.
It's still pretty funny though.
Why does it always feel like After Dark when he's here?
Sorry, I got no filter. I'll just mute myself.
It's probably also because it's midnight.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on that. We're gonna have to, Austin. If you want to keep doing this show ever, you're gonna have more of a filter, buddy. I should have given you one for Christmas. Okay, DJ, do you see anything else kind of interesting in pre-written before we finish up?
Connor wanted to know before we left which Sex and the City characters we are.
I've never seen that.
I don't even know anything about that show. I'll look for an interesting one while you guys.
Everybody here is a Samantha.
I'll have to take your word for it. I've only ever.
One thing that can sometimes be, I'm sorry to say, a little bit annoying about Austin is he's constantly quibbling over Samanthas.
It's pretty common.
Now I don't think I'm even willing to come back.
Cap, that pun broke my mind. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Those kinds of dad jokes don't happen because I'm a dad either. I was already doing them.
Utali wants to know, if you wanted someone assassinated, would you hire Deathstroke or Deadpool?
Definitely Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, yeah.
Before Deadpool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
I think he's more professional generally. Sorry, what?
So can I hire Deathstroke to kill Deadpool?
Oh, this one's fun. This one's fun, Cap. We'll finish with this one.
Do you know what Deadpool's power is? Sorry, go ahead.
This is from Blue Dragon 5. Cap, and he says Seinfeld and Friends, but I don't know if you know Seinfeld.
I don't.
And I don't, so I'm just going to go with Friends.
I don't.
Cap, if you were to cast a sampling of superheroes in the roles of the main cast of Friends, what would your lineup be?
And I may finally go back and watch a little Seinfeld. It didn't immediately grab me when I was younger, and I've never gone back. Like, I like Jerry Seinfeld a lot, but the tone of that show was not my thing when I was younger, but I've never revisited it. But anyway, wow, put me on the spot.
So should we just go through? Who's Joey?
So we're talking about, was it just DC characters or
just superheroes?
Oh, just superheroes in general.
Wide
Joey
open.
is the Tick.
Yes, that's perfect.
Let's
Tick is
continue.
actually promiscuous. Yeah.
You got to get him in there somewhere. Yeah, the Tick, if he was more promiscuous, that's right. Yeah. Oh, no. Joey is a cross between the Tick and Batman. Well.
Yes, perfect. That's perfect. Who is Chandler? I don't know, a super snarky superhero.
So you need like a really sarcastic.
Yeah, sarcastic.
I'm only thinking of
flippant.
Tick characters now. There is a Tick character named Sarcastro. He could be Sarcastro, but that was like a Fidel Castro themed superhero named Sarcastro. It's fantastic.
Wow.
I got like my razor sharp sting of sarcasm. Yeah, a really snarky.
This is hard when you're trying to think of superheroes based on only like
Yeah.
superficial like sitcom
And I
stereotypes.
don't know Friends super well, but
Yeah, and you need like with that particular character type, you need somebody who's like kind of weird around women, and most
Yeah,
superheroes are just
awkward.
a lot more confident than that guy. Like can you
Yeah.
think of a? I mean,
It's like Clark Kent, but not Superman. But we're supposed to pick superheroes. Yeah, because the superheroes like kind of break that. That's
generally
when
I'm going
speaking,
when,
just
when they're
geeky, 'cause I keep
superheroes.
thinking like Han Solo because of the snarky thing. But like,
No, no, he's too cool to be Chandler.
yeah, like I can go to characters from other things, but once I'm stuck with superheroes, that's actually kind of difficult.
Yeah, because there's a stereotype for superheroes. Superheroes is like one of the stereotypes.
he's snarky and you said bad with women. I'm gonna go Rocket Raccoon. That's
Mantis
Chandler.
That's not bad.
Mantis is kind of like Phoebe.
Like movie man.
The movie Thanos.
That's really funny.
Movie Mantis.
Movie Mantis is very Phoebe.
Hey, thanks for saying Mantis and getting the video demonetized. Really appreciate that.
It was right in my mind because we talked.
Because for some reason, that's a dicey word now. Quibbling over
Who's an
semantics.
absolute insane person that can be Ross?
Who's
Ross
like,
is
who's a
insane?
really controlling, I mean... I'm gonna go with
The
Jason Todd.
Punisher. Bush.
Rachel's also an insane.
This is a fun idea before it is turned into a fun exercise, because
It's a
I'm having a
very-
difficult time coming up with great answers.
very hard exercise.
Hawk Flame says for channel, I'd go with the DeMatteis Blue Beetle. That's interesting. The only
Wow.
thing that came to mind with that, but I didn't love the response, so I didn't give it, but I didn't have anything else, so I guess I'll throw it out there, is I thought of maybe somebody like, what's his name? Booster Gold.
Oh, okay. People are saying Bruce Banner should be Ross.
Him as Ross.
Hank Pym is Ross? That's brilliant. That's genius. Thanks. Thanks, Hawk Flame.
so
Hawk Flame
all
has
that's
saved
left-
this segment.
Thank you, Hawk Flame. Who's Monica Hawk Flame? Just save us.
Did we ever go to Rachel?
No. Rachel and Monica. Maybe we
Rachel.
can knock it out.
What are their characteristics?
Monica cleans all the time, and she's super, super like bossy and like controlling.
And
What about
Rachel is
Rachel?
somewhat of an airhead, but
She is she's an airhead in the beginning, and
But
then
it's
she
also
just
kinda
turns
snarky.
into like, yeah, they all kind of rub off on each other by the end, and they
yeah.
all kind of become one
Really?
thing.
Well, that was a fun idea.
I was excited about it, and then it got really hard.
I'm thinking Rachel is the 05 or was it 04 version of Susan Storm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Except
just
she's not
Katie
even
Cole.
pretending to be a scientist.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and wrap things up, shall we? Thanks a lot for watching tonight. Hope you guys had a good time. We certainly did. Like I said, we will be back on Tuesday, finally bringing back Marvel Mania, so look forward to that. We're going to have another commentary on Sunday night with Austin and I doing that hideous poster behind him. We're going to be doing Terminator 3, and we will make that as enjoyable as humanly possible. But I hope some folks show up, because we could really use the discussion back and forth with you in the comments for that particular commentary, because that's going to be a little bit like talking at a blank wall for the first 45 minutes. And
Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
Man, Terminator 3 and then Ant-Man and the Wasp in
I
2
can't
days
wait.
after.
I'm so excited. It's going to be great. We should do some brilliant movie right after that, just to cleanse the palate and make people like not think that we're only doing like not great movies, like mediocre movies on the channel. Like, so you guys are just finished with movies people like now, right?
Yep.
Well, brilliant movies. We could do Lord of the Rings after.
Cap sleeps through Lord of the Rings. Cap,
That would
I
be
like Cap
amazing.
can't watch. That's pretty great.
I would love you on the other end of the call just snoring the whole time while we're trying to talk about it. That would be amazing.
Cap, mute your microphone.
I was trying to wake him up the whole time.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that.
Captain Logan show back Thursday night next week with an After Dark right after it. Superhero Rewind returns tomorrow evening. I'll have that posted by 7 o'clock, so look forward to that. I'm doing a review of the second Crow movie, and then kind of a special secret Superhero Rewind video after that in the next week or two. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. We sure appreciate it. I was Captain Logan. That was chat moderator and producer DJ Martinez. And
I was going to do that. Now I don't know what I'm going to do.
I know, yeah. What are you going to do now? I stole it. Even though Cap does it every time.
And professional Terminator commentator, Austin. Bye, everybody.
I thought he was just going to
No, it's not after dark.